This is Thorion. This is the gameplay guide for Xbalanque. He is the Mayan. He's one of the Mayan hunters. It is fairly straightforward. He's also one of the oldest hunters in the game. His passive is called Dead of the Night. This passive got changed, I think 2 or 3 years ago. I'm not sure anymore. It used to be like that, that you got once one permanent stack of 5 physical power for when you killed someone. So yeah, this was a bit tedious and bad, sort of, getting 6 kills early. Now they changed it to after every 1500 damage dealt, after mitigations, Xbalanque gets 1 stack. The stacks 6 times, and then you get 30 physical power from his passive permanently. Yeah, it's pretty nice. It's not crazy or anything, but it's a good passive overall. Xbalanque is also all about high area damage. Also AoE damage is sort of his trait, starting with his first ability is also the first ability we max and also get. Technically could also do the second, but we'll get to it later, why this is more or less not the best idea. So his one is a toggle ability. When you toggle this ability on, you're doing your basic attacks split into 2 extra bolas that fly behind or to the side into up to 2, and hits up to 2 enemies. The range is 30 units behind the primary target, but these bolas will also only deal 35% of the damage, and they will not apply any on-hit effects like a kin size or similar items. If you press the ability again, then you can toggle it off. This also costs quite a lot of mana, 5 to 17 mana per shot, depending on spell level. This is why we may want to pick up always the Transcendence first on him, so we have enough mana, especially in the late game. Let's showcase how this looks like. As you can see, the Bola hits the primary target, and then it splits into 2. We can see this better when we're hitting the group of audience here. As you can see, the second audience is hit for roughly 1/3 of the damage. Like most hunters, also his single target DPS is quite high. Due to having branching Bola, he doesn't have an attack speed steroid, but he doesn't need one to be a late game monster, because branching Bola makes him a late game monster. Also his second ability does a ton of damage. Poison, it's called Poison Darts. He shoots 15 darts in a cone in front of him, and this apply, and an enemy can be hit by up to 15 darts, while the other 4 are only doing 30% damage. The primary hit will do the full damage. The enemies are poisoned, and they take additional damage every half a second, and they also slowed. So, and this lasts for 3 seconds, so we have a total of 6 ticks. This is pretty nice, especially late game, but also in the early game. It's really cool. a hard-hitting ability that, yes, it's damage over time, but it really adds up really fast. Let's get to level 20 quick, and then we get a few items so we can see the damage. Let's stack this up. 20. So let's go with the usual stuff. We can also stack up our passive real quick. Passive stacked now. We're at 433 physical damage by now. Let's have a look at poison darts. It's the initial hit for like roughly 230-ish damage, but we also get 6 ticks from this here, so this will also add up. Technically, you can also use his poison darts for clearing the wave in lane, but keep in mind, if you're positioning yourself like this to the side of maybe to the side of the minion wave, then it could become a bit difficult. Let's go over to let's get reduced cooldown, or just reset the cooldowns. Technically, yeah. Let's get the reduced cooldowns. It's just much more easier. Anyways, you're in lane, you would expose yourself trying to hit the minion wave with poison darts. Like this, I would have a very easy time nailing you down if you stood somewhere here in the middle and would move forward. You shouldn't do that. I think an acceptable angle could be let me just put this on normal cast. An acceptable angle could be maybe like this, but also this would actually put you in harm's way. You would open up yourself to the enemy support. So the branching Bola is for the most part the way to go to clear the wave. Yes, it costs a ton of mana to keep this toggled on, especially in the early game. Maybe bring a mana pot or two to help clearing the wave. But this is a lot better than exposing yourself like this. Just so you hit the entire wave with the poison dart effect. So, and then there's third abilities called Rising Jaguar. It also does some damage, and if you have applied poison darts on the target beforehand, it will deal 30% additional poison damage. This is also a really nice spell since it's a dash, and during the dash, so in the jump animation, he goes gold. That means he's immune to crowd control. And while he's in the air, he fires darts at all nearby enemies. And enemies that were poisoned by poison darts before, they will take additional damage from this ability. I would still max this ability third, this here first, second, third. Can showcase this real quick. So we are casting this, and then they take additional damage from Rising Jaguar. If you're only doing hitting them with Rising Jaguar, then we just get the initial damage, and with poison darts applied to it, we get an additional 30% of the initial hit as damage on the enemy. His ultimate's called Darkest of Nights. Basically, when you activate this, you get increased movement speed for a total of 3 seconds. And the basic attack range increases by 40 feet. So as you can see, the basic attacks could now thrown from a further distance for the next 3 seconds. And what it also does, it covers every enemy god into a shroud of darkness, and so they are completely blind and can't see anything for 3 seconds. So we have increased auto attack range, and now we wouldn't hit them anymore now that the ultimate ran out. Yeah, that's pretty much his kit. It's very simple. The 2 and the 3 can be combined with each other for the additional poison damage. The passive is okay. It's when you get stacked in the early game, this is really insane, since 30 power, physical power in the early game is a lot. Even in the mid game, 30 physical power is still a lot. It gives you slightly the edge also in the late game, but stacking it up in the late game first is nothing to write home about, but it's still okay. I believe Transcendence is a must-have item on him. Because branching Bola is draining mana like crazy. And yeah, let's hop into a game and let's see how it goes. I think he's also pretty much he's an ADC hunter for people who have a little bit experience with the hunter class. Since positioning is much more important, a little bit more important. Grasping the kit is, yeah, it's very easy. It's not that difficult. Using the ultimate's also not that difficult to chase an enemy. He's slightly out of basic attack range, or you want to turn the tide in a team fight and then activate the ultimate, since the enemy will be completely blind then. They can't see what they're doing anymore, so this will do a ton in a team fight, but it needs to be timed well, of course. And his 2 and 3 combo is also very powerful in the early game, so yeah. As apart from that, pretty fun to play. He can be played. He can be played with various builds. His damage as a damage caster is not so great, since he pretty much just has poison dart and his 3. And both abilities do not have high base damage and extreme scalings. He scales off best from attack speed Kins, attack speed pen builds. or crit builds. Crit builds is probably the best option for him. So in metas where flatpan items and raw physical damage items are good, he can. He's not doing so great. Also, it can work. But he's not insanely good. He's really good when crit. Yeah, the crit builds are good. He needs transcendence. My opinion, and of course you can also build him with something else, but then keep in mind you really need to take care with using the branching Bola ability. And like I thought, he's dealing insane AoE damage. It's probably one of the he's definitely one of the better team fighters in the game. So when we put the bolas on, we deal extra damage with our basic attacks. When we put the toggle off, it's 8 damage less. His branding Bola is also one really good ability to poke the enemy. In the late game, it really also it hurts at pretty much any stage. Yeah, like I said, it's very fun to play. There we go, let's get our Transcendence going. We have enough mana.
Charging battery.
So do we have a team of sorts?
Being impressive.
As you can see, having the branching Bola constantly on drains mana like mad. So you really want Transcendence on Xbalanque in order to sustain his power consumption on his one. We can deal with this. As you can see, his auto attacks have greatly increased already. So 10 more stacks on Transcendence, and it's also done stacking. And now we will be starting to hurt. So this was a cool demonstration. Of course, it was a random situation. We got a kill with Rising Jaguar and escaped some sticky situation. Xbalanque starts to hit insanely hard at some point due to his kit. Oh no, this is a great ult. It was an excellent... Let's pick up the dominance. As you can see, we are already hitting insanely hard for like 700 and we're critting for like 750 damage. This will come even crazier now. And yeah, it's a pretty good choice if you need more AoE damage on the team. I would say his of a moderate skill level. Oh. Of course, it's early game a bit weak. His mid game why on earth is this Anubis allowed every time to walk up that close without dying? I don't... sometimes I don't honestly... well, I guess well, I guess I just don't ask. As you can see, the branching Bola was splitting up, dealing damage to the enemy in the background. Let's go back at our death tempo. And maybe the game Then maybe the game goes long enough for us to finish. Maybe the game goes long enough. Nah, I don't expect the game to go long enough so we can finish the Deathbringer. But we're already doing a tremendous amount of AoE damage now. Yeah. Alright, that was a Xbalanque gameplay guide. I hope you enjoyed it. Kit is fairly easy to understand. He requires a bit better positioning and also some small decision making when it comes to his escape, or if you want to deal the additional damage, only use it in the early game to get a kill or to push some damage in. He's a pretty good late game insurance. Also his mid games already, I would call it rock solid. His early lane games kind of weak, but he is hyper carry after all. My favorite build so right now. Something like this. But builds are subject to change, and I will always make separate separate guides where we classify attack speed and crit hunters and ability damage hunters. So I wouldn't worry about that. We can do leveling up his abilities quick. This branching Bola I would max out first. Then in lane we would put the first point in Rising Jaguar at level 2. Then we would get Poison Darts, ultimate, then we would 1 point here, 1 point here, Poison Darts, ultimate, maxed out branching Bola. Then we do Poison Darts until we can spend point into the ultimate, max out Poison Darts, it's done. Rising Jaguar next. Last, ultimate. And Rising Jaguar, and last but not least, the ultimate. So a leveling order could be something like this. And that's it. That was the Xbalanque guide. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.